Hi folks, welcome to another edition of Bluffers to Buffers. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben. And this is, Bob, a video we were supposed to do last week, but didn't do last week because we were well busy and that. So this week I've shoehorned a bit more of an updated thing at the end to make it a bit more relevant and in time with our social media accounts. But basically, in a nutshell, just looking at a bit of wiring. Bit of wiring, yeah. Because I know we've done wiring before on a video, how we do drop wires and that. But I thought what we do is cover it on the curve. So it's with flexi track. Obviously, you bend it, you mount it, fine. As soon as you disconnect it, it goes bing, all straight again. So those sleepers,
that's annoying, isn't it?
well, those sleepers aren't going to be there anymore. When you straighten it up, they'll all adjust. So what you need, this is my technique at the moment. It could all change, but a few doors down, a few sleepers down from the bit where you're going to do your droppers, where we've marked with the black marker like we did before. Remember that? A little bit of super glue on the chair for the sleeper. Thing.
You're going to tell me this acts like a clamp to stop it unspringing, isn't you?
It doesn't do the whole thing, obviously, because you're only doing a couple of chairs, but just keeps it, that bit, just where you're working, keeps it where it needs to be. Little top tip there.
I like it. I like the application using a toothpick.
Is a good application method. I use that for all my gluing these days.
Don't get muddled up and then use them with your teeth, though.
No. Or, and I definitely wouldn't glue the back seam on with a toothpick. That'd take a while. Well, that said, I did try and paint the shed with a 1-inch brush.
Well, that's...
if you remember.
Yeah, I do remember, yeah.
Or because I couldn't be bothered to find a bigger one. So
this is you putting some glue.
Yeah, what I should have done is sped that up, really.
Well, it gives an idea of real time.
It does. I mean, I'm already bored. Look, I'm trying to get all that glue. That is that Gorilla Super Glue gel, which I swear by the way. I
you like the gel, didn't you?
Brilliant stuff, yeah, really easy to work with.
And how long will this take to set? You haven't done that in real time.
No, the setting bit, probably about, I left it 10 minutes. So there we've had the track section away, doing the drilling like we've done before. Can you remember which way around to do my wires, Bob? There's a very specific...
Black to the back.
There we go,
See?
Look at that. You do pay attention.
What? little brushing technique there for you. Oh,
Tell you one thing, I've been very
well.
thorough with this build, I have to say, Bob. Previously, I
feel you're taking this quite seriously because you spent £20 on it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, £20. Yeah. So... But it's all part of the learning curve. I've learned a lot.
Because you're doing a curve.
Yeah, see what we've done there. So here we go. I'm just measuring out how long I need the bits of wires to be. As you'll see in a bit, I've kind of... The way I tidy and organise the wires is I bring them to the front of the board and they all sort of accumulate in one place there. So just measuring longer than it needs to be, but sort of from the hole to the front of the board.
So every bit of track...
Yep.
has got a live to it.
Every single bit of track, every bit of track, every bit of points. We're going to do a bit on wiring points as well because that aids reliability. I don't know if you remember as a kid with your Flying Scotsman pack, if you had any points or whatever, or any dead parts of track, I think to give it a nudge because there was no power or whatever to it. That's what I want to eliminate, especially on the lower level because you're not going to be able to easily access this because, I mean, even now, you'll see when I do the video later, this is all covered over.
Going back to wiring, very basics, but getting one of them little tools, if you're doing wiring, a lot of people don't realise all these things, but the little wire stripper and cutter, it saves so much time rather than trying to do it with a little clippers or a knife or whatever.
Very much so, Bob. And what I was going to do is, and well done for remembering, even though you didn't know I was going to do it, little top tip from Bluffers to Buffers is get some of them wire strippers because they do save so much time.
I ruined it for you.
No, you haven't. You've actually saved it because I was going to do it in the edit afterwards and chop it in, which I will do now. But certainly one of the essential top top tip is speed strippers.
And because I've just bought a soldering iron for other uses.
Yeah.
Well, not other uses. I'm still going to solder with it. But they're cheap as chips on Amazon. You can buy little kits and all the bits and bobs for like 20 quid.
Also essential.
Actual 20 quid though.
Essential kit there is your flux nail.
Yes, you said about that. Must get a nail. I haven't got one nail yet. I need to go and choose one. I'm going to pop down the Selco and get myself a flux nail.
Yeah, just the one.
Are they in the catalogue under flux?
They're not, actually. It's multi-purpose, that nail. So it still will work as a nail. So what we missed there was the fact that you've still got a bit of curvature in the track, but the sleepers haven't moved. So I'm able to chop the bottom bits out there like we do.
When you put it back, it should be in the right place.
It should all go to the right place. And
that is a good top tip.
It is. And the other, here we go, soldering nail. Sorry, flux nail. Look at that. I mean, just...
What do you think about pre-fluxed solder?
You've got to flux, whether it's pre-fluxed, that's easy for you to say, or not. Always flux all the things.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely, because the solder flows so much better. And a good tip as well, as in the tip of the soldering iron. This is just my third tip I've had on that soldering iron because it burns through them for some reason. It's a Sealy soldering iron, but...
Can you adjust the heat?
No.
See, the little cheap one I bought, you can actually adjust the heat, which I thought was quite good.
You need a fair bit of heat to get the solder to flow onto the tracks there, but not too much that it melts the sleepers. But once you get the hang of it, you do realise that actually if you've got a good bit of flux on the bottom of the track and it's clean and your tip is clean, top tip, keep your tip clean. Too many tips there. It makes life so much...
Black to the back.
But obviously we flipped the track.
Yeah.
But what I did also start doing is lifting the track up that way, so there was one less thing to confuse me. So if you see what I'm saying, flip it left to right, so that the black was still at the back. Because I do get easily confused. Because when I've turned it the other way. Yeah. So that's passage of time. So wiring points. We've spoken, Bob, about electro frog points before.
Frog points.
So there we go, I'm pointing at the frog. And on this set of points, that is electro frogs, not insole frog, it's electro frog, which means it will have power going to it. So that's the underside of the frog, pointed there with the little drilly maker. And these points get that bit of wire comes with them. And that is the feed wire to that frog, the V. So when you switch your points, it changes the polarity of that V to either red or black wire.
Itself.
You're basically switching that. So what we're going to do in a minute is, in factory format, just so that you can bolt them straight in and use them, there's a gap in the track there, and it's joined by two bits of wire. But for what we're going to do here, because we're adding feed wires to it, we're going to chop them joiners out, because you don't need them anymore. They would be powering the frog. We're going to have them out, and we're going to add our own power feeds to the bottom of the points. I've got a bit sidetracked there because something's popped up on the screen. I don't know why it's saying it wants to close, but anyway, people at home won't know that. We just ignore it. So if you see there, I've chopped out the little joiny wires.
Yeah.
And these medium and large radius points have got handy gaps in the bottom, so you ain't got to cut out any plastic. See where I've got the old fluxing nail?
Yeah.
And we're going to apply 2 sets of black and 2 sets of red wires to them. So that's powering both the outside rails.
Okay.
There, but it's also powering everything up to that V. Everything up to that frog has got live power to it all the time.
Yeah.
And then that V, the frog, will switch. The point motors I use automatically change the polarity of it so that it's not...
How does it know to do that?
Well, because it's all digital, isn't it? So
right, okay.
The frog itself is insulated, so it's totally separate from any other bits of track, but that V section will switch with the point motor. Okay. So every part of that every part of that point will now have power to it, so it will be supremely reliable.
Seamless.
Yeah. And I've done...
That's time consuming though, isn't
it is very, yes. I've done a really big hole.
Yeah. For
the point motor, because they can be a bit, underneath. just you don't get any issues of the rod interfering with anything. And if you notice on the points themselves, there's a bit of DCC Concept supply these sticky pads.
Yeah.
So the actual point itself, you've just got a slot in it for the rod to move left to right. And also when you ballast, you don't lose loads of ballast down thole.
Oh, right.
And
basically, it's just a
cover.
Yeah.
Vanity cover. So and also having those wires, it holds the points in position nicely as well.
Are you still putting track connectors?
You still join the track. I'm still using connectors to join the track, but they are in no means conducting electricity. They're literally just there to join the two bits of track together. So now I'm just going to. We've got some extremely accelerated time going on in a minute of just tidying up the wiring underneath. Something I definitely didn't do with the old layout because it was just a case of, right, I just want to use it, wires everywhere. But I think it's important this time. And also, as I mentioned before, we're kind of wiring in districts. So, as you'll see, because it's all plugged into a connector in a minute, I'll show you. If there's a bit that's shorting out or not wired connector, you just literally pull one off and you'll be able to find which section is the troubled section, as it were. So, got these from Car Builder Solutions. They're basically,
Bible.
yeah, they're bus bars basically. So we've got the smaller one for areas where there's not a huge amount of wires going on, and the bigger ones. On some of the boards, I've got twice. It's got double bubble on the big one. As you can see here, you've got red one side, black the other. And it's just you have your feed in and then spur out.
Yeah.
Using crimp terminals, 5mm I think they are, spade terminals, insulated. And like I say, you can plug them all in individually, but if there's a problem or there's a short somewhere, unplug one. Has that fixed it? No. Put it back in, unplug another. And if you're quite sort of smart about how you join them in, so if you've got a set of points kicking off 2 tracks, you keep them together, you know that you can kind of keep it all fairly separate, but together at the end. Does that even make sense? You got bored? You've fallen asleep.
What's going on?
I know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying, and like the people that are interested in this will.
What, and you're not?
I am interested.
Unbelievable.
I have no use for this myself.
Yeah, when you build your layout.
We've already talked about what we could do potentially going forward, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Will never happen.
No.
But exciting.
Well, when we get the big call up for the old great Model Railway Challenge, if they're listening, we'll do that. It'll be our secret weapon. Anyway, so I've got
How do we know if that's going to be the theme?
Well, I don't know, slip them a tenner or something. Not 20 quid,
mate.
because that'll affect our purchasing ability. Just to go back to what's on screen. So you got the main feed in, which is your thicker wires coming in, and that powers up the bus bar, and then you can just drop out of it to your dropper wires.
What's the blue thing?
That's your point motor.
Oh, that's your point motor.
Yeah.
So that's your servo, basically.
Yes, yeah, basically. But how I originally interpreted that you wire these layouts is you run a red and a black wire all the way around and then chip into it, which is where the Scotch lock vibe and that comes from. But actually, this is a lot nicer way of doing it. So you bring the bus into the bar and then out again, and then you link in with all your feeds like I've done there. It's just A, it's tidier, and B, it's easier to keep on top of it. And if there's any problems, the worst you've got to do is cut the crimp terminal off. These bad boys, nice little Amazon find, little square with adhesive on it, cable tie.
Yeah,
again,
I've seen these before, they're very good.
Again, so if you need to chop it out, just chop the cable tie and you're away. So this is testing the points while the board's still up on its side. And if you look there, I've used a 90-degree converter because the boards are shallower than the depth of the point motor, so you sit it on its side rather than its end. And there we go, finished article. That's all the points and everything on that particular board. That's the board that sits underneath. This is where we're going to be starting the bulk of our early scenic work, because on top of that will be the big sweeping curve that will lead into the upper scenic layer, as it were.
That looks dead smart.
I'm pleased with how that looks.
Job well done.
It all works very well. Thank you very much, Bob. So a little bit of running now. This is actually out of date already.
Is it?
Yeah, because this was last week, the weekend before last. I was just testing this bit of track, this is the board that we've just had on its side. So the track at the back that you're seeing as it comes off screen on the right, the points you either hook a left and you'll go up the gradient to the upper level, or you'll stay right and you'll go into the storage yard, the first storage yard that we built, and then you've got these two lines here which will loop round into the second storage yard. So all told, you've got the possibility of running, I think, when the layout's finished, 5 trains at any one time. Nice. Without a crash, although I'm terrible at remembering what points are where, so I do need to sort out some sort of mimic panel. Apparently people don't like this slow running malarkey. I think it's important to do it to make sure it all runs smoothly, but
well, do people normally just go flat out?
Apparently. But just if I went flat out here, Evening Star should be on the deck, because the track finishes at about 6 inches further round. And again, it's just such panic because you have to dial in the address for the loco and then stop it.
I see the boys are still about.
Yeah,
who's that? That's that Bob?
Bob, dog of Leonard, and...
Is Bob a dog not turned up again?
No, he has
gone.
No, he's gone, yeah. Although I don't know if you spotted Punchy Kev on Instagram.
I did, yeah.
You spotted his dog's name?
Oh, it was... You have to remind me.
Something silly. Piss biscuit.
That's it.
I think that's not too rude a word, is it? Are we allowed to say that?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, right. It's a dog's name.
We can have all sorts of silly dog names, really.
Yeah. So yeah, a bit more running.
Got a lick on the old firebox.
Yeah. This is that test train.
So I asked you about this test train.
You did.
Thinking there were some sort of magical things inside it.
No. It just says test train on the box. I don't know what it really would have been used
I thought there
for.
might be some lead weights in it or something.
I like where you've gone with that.
I thought, maybe there was actually something that tests the track in it.
Yeah.
You get these silly carriages with wire wool on them to clean the track and things.
I don't think they're silly. I've just bought one actually. I've got one that does that and one with a vac in it.
One with a what?
A vac. So this is actually the most up-to-date bit of footage.
Okay.
And in a minute, Bob, me and you are going to talk and you're going to help with creative inputs.
Okay.
So here is the lower level station. You're going to have a platform on the left-hand side, a platform in the middle there.
Yeah.
That wall in there, there's going to be an embankment up to the upper 2 lines up the top there. And we were talking about the brick mouth?
Yes.
So that's going to cover that track there, and so the station's sort of subterranean, so it's going to go underneath that baseboard and disappear out of sight. Partly so you can get long trains in there, but hidden out of sight, if you know what I mean. And it just brings a bit of scenic interest to down below. Do you see what I mean about the track finishing there?
Oh yeah, it's like Back to the Future.
So we're doing quite well with the upper baseboards.
Oh, it's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah, I've still got the triangles to do. I'm leaving them till I absolutely have to do them because there's a limited amount of space. That one we don't talk about because I cut it too short, so I've got to fill that gap in. Don't tell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was foolish, wasn't it?
And this board on the top there is the bit that's going to cover the door, so that's ready to slot in next weekend. That's one of the storage yards, which I think since our last video I've done that. Like I say, that leads out here into what will be the lower level station. Yeah, and the pedestrian subway.
It's got quite big, hasn't it?
Yes. But I'm quite excited because this area. Oh, look at that! I'm pointing there. What was that for? Oh yeah, that pedestrian subway that I bought today. That's going there.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
But I'm quite excited now because this gives me the chance to crack on with a little bit of scenic work.
Yeah.
As well, because it's all well and good doing this building work, but it's getting boring. I want to do what I enjoy doing, a bit of modelling, as it were.
Yeah, you've got to keep your interest.
So I was pondering about whether or not, Bob, to show you the general arrangement, which is the drawing that Steve done for me, how he envisages the whole layout's going to, which I needed, because that's where historically I've always struggled, isn't it?
Yes.
What's going to go there? Why would that wall be there? How would that road appear? So he's done all that for me as part of the service.
Are you going to show me?
I'm going to show you a bit. I'm going to show you this section of it, and we're going to talk about it.
It's going to be exciting.
And it's going to be exciting. So, yes, right, I've just got to do a bit of jiggery pokery and we'll bring up another screen, all right? So,
okay. Whoa.
This is that corner. This is what it's kind of going to be. So if you imagine...
Yeah, I see where we are.
Yeah, so that's
right
that's that baseboard that we were looking under. That's the platforms going under there. This is the... Oh, you should use the mouse because it's going to make sense when people are looking at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are the platforms we were just looking down. That's the baseboard cover in there. The bit of timber on the side where the class 50 was is basically here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this...
You've basically gone from having no stations to having 18.
Literally all the stations.
Is that a station?
That is what we would call the main. That is the main station, as it were, the upper level.
Oh, so you're gonna, like a little roundy maker.
Yeah, so you've got two terminus stations.
I'm starting to see it's all coming alive now.
Yeah, you see?
Wow.
And then you've got this big long platform here, but then we've got this quite cool thing. I don't want to show you much more than that, but...
This is all platform. And
so it's like a V-shaped platform.
This town's got a lot of platforms.
Up the top here is also a platform.
Wow.
So see that bit there?
Yeah.
If you follow that round, that's essentially the very top of the gradient. So if you went straight, you'd go down, 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 and eventually
we've got like red knob end, east, west, and...
Well, you need to think of a name for this lower station.
Okay.
So yeah, if you went from this bit down the gradient,
yeah,
you'd eventually end up on this line here. And go underneath the baseboard, and then you've got storage yards and that over here.
Wow.
So, looking up the platforms, about under here, we're going to have, like we said, the tunnel mouths.
Yeah.
But with the platforms going underneath the tunnel mouth, so we're going to have to scratch build the tunnel mouths because normally they are only big enough just to cover the track sort of thing, but we need to make space so it's still a usable platform. That retaining wall is, where we just saw the retaining wall, and then you've got quite a steep embankment up to the top level here. There's kind of like a taper. I've added a bit of board to get a taper down to disguise the underside a bit better. So, you've got a bit extra timber across there, sort of thing. And we're probably going to do away with the steps there and imagine that there's a subway to get from there. And also we mentioned about that where I did my bit of artistic pointing. Somewhere across here we'll have a footbridge going across into like the pedestrian subway, which will go underneath that track there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
out the other side. So you've got some quite nice photographic opportunities if nothing else, but principally this area here is what we're going to start. We're going to do a bit of scenic work on first of all, because I can do that without having to worry about adding too much of this track,
Wow, it's pretty mega, isn't it?
So yeah, it's exciting. It's something good to get our teeth into. And,
yeah, massively.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think that's the multi-storey car park.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it is whatever we want to make of it. The troublesome jobbies there.
Wow, that's going to look really cool.
It is.
Lovely plans, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to show you the whole thing, but I think it would be
too
like
much
this.
at this point in time.
In our relationship, Bob, we've got to keep it interesting. We've known each other a long time, so I've got to keep a few surprises back. It's like turning up at home with a bunch of flowers, but it's nothing like that.
You've never done that.
No. But I have just shown you the corner of our layout. What more could you want?
To me, that's
everything.
That'll do. I'm an easily pleased person, you know that.
Perfect.
That's mega, isn't it? I like this.
Yeah. This bit here is going to be complicated, but we'll cover that another time.
So this platform malarkey.
Yep.
Scratch building.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I've got in my mind how I'm going to do it. So we're going to start down here, obviously, with these platforms. I've already started this one because you've seen the concrete edging.
Yeah. And you can buy all the bits to do it, can you?
You can.
You wouldn't just use your off-the-shelf stuff.
Well,
make good or
no, you won't, because it's curved. It's a curved platform. So, I'm not going to bore you now, but I'm trialing the method first of all here.
Now?
Well, we'll save it for an episode, Bob. I'm trialing my method with this first platform. If it works, I'll then film doing it for this one, and because I'm desperate to use that tarmac stuff again and all that caper, just to get real textures and a bit of realism into it. But anyway, so I think
that's how you're going to do it. You're going to do a little section at a time with a bit of scenic stuff.
Yeah.
Then move on to the next bit.
Yeah, because we know how the whole thing's going to shape out in the fullness. I haven't got to stress myself about how it's going to turn out because I know it's all there. I've got the printouts. So I've got a bit that I can play trains, for want of a better word. You can have a little running session.
Train set.
Yeah. But you can have a running session, you can get on and do some scenic stuff, or you can lay some track. It's kind of every dimension of the hobby at any one time, which is better, I think.
Yeah, man, that looks wicked.
So perhaps on that note, we better wrap it up.
Well, yeah, happy days. Well, thanks for watching, guys. You can check us out on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, Bluffers to Buffers. Like, comment and subscribe. That's what they say, isn't it?
Definitely do all of those, please. We do love your comments, and also you can click that little notification thing so you can be told when there's some red nubbin. Yeah, be told when there's some Bluffers to Buffers in for your viewing pleasure. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed. Thanks to everyone who takes time to comment or even to watch these videos in the first place. And yeah, I think that's probably us.
Yeah, definitely us.
Right.
Bye.
Thanks for everything. I'm going to go home and have a sausage.